Hi, good night. My name is Lucia and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I'm going to tell you a story of a subscriber which happened many years ago. But first, don't forget to leave your like and subscribe to my channel because it's free. Now, let's get started. Well, I had a letter and it's in my files. It's top secret and I'm gonna read it, okay? It says, I got married very young with a girl who had the same passion for animals, so she also agreed to have birds, a goldfish, rabbits, a dog, a little monkey, and a cat at home. The name was Pluto. Among all these animals, my favorite was Pluto, a black cat with an intelligent and daring look. My wife, more superstitious than I, told me that black cats were witches. I obviously didn't believe in any of that. Time passed, and I began to fall into the habit of drinking, and this was completely transforming my character, increasingly taciturn, rude, and even violent. In fact, for those I felt loved by animals, they began to bother me little by little to annoy me, until I began to mistreat them to everyone except Pluto. I still had a certain respect for him. However, the animal, intelligent as it was, began to move away from me when he saw how I treated the rest of the animals. And that bothered me more. And I began to feel rejection by my favorite animal. Then I felt contempt until I felt hatred for him. And I don't know how it happened, but one day when I arrived more drunk than usual, when trying to touch Pluto, he bit my hand, and I, driven with rage, took an eye from my pocket and took one eye off him. Yes, as I tell it, me, the person who loved animals so much, had just committed intolerable cruelty. For the next few days, Pluto constantly avoided me. His wound was healing, although his appearance was terrible. And I, far from writhing in remorse, continued to feel a growing animosity for the feline. My wife, on the other hand, continued to love all animals just like she did the first time, and this infuriated me even more. I can explain why. After a few days of remorse for what I had done, I started hating Pluto again, that I wanted his death. One morning, without knowing why, I grabbed a rope and hanged him from a tree in a garden near the house. The next night, a fire engulfed the house. My wife and I ran away and we were able to save ourselves. But when the firefighters finished the work, we observed with horror that only one wall had remained standing, the wall on which my bed rested. People began to murmur in surprise, and as I approached, I saw the reason for the strangeness. A perfectly drawn silhouette of Pluto had appeared on the wall, with a piece of rope still tied around his neck. I gave a cry of horror, and then I tried to push my emotions away, thinking about how that image could get there. Maybe the cat didn't die. Maybe someone saw it and cut the rope, and the cat took refuge under the bed and next to the wall. Then the fire did the rest. Heat and ammonia fumes could do the green work. Later, the feeling of remorse gone. One day, I went into a cellar where a cat very similar to Pluto was sleeping on a large barrel, except that He had a white spot on his chest. Instinctively, I struck him, and he seemed to agree. When I left, the cat followed me, and I left him. When I got home, I realized that one eye was also missing, like Pluto, and I decided to stay with it. My wife loved that cat because he was exceedingly affectionate. That excessive affection for me began to bother me. She couldn't bear to crawl up on my knees or to seek me out to be caressed. So I started to feel contempt and hatred for him. I wanted to avoid him, and for the moment I refused to mistreat him because of the recent memory of the heinous crime against Pluto. But hatred grew and settled like a mountain in my heart. One day I noticed that the white patch on his chest had changed. I gave a cry of panic when I saw that he had a peculiar shape, very well drawn, of a gallows. Decidedly, I was willing to finish off that demonic animal, and one day I grabbed an axe and went down with it to the basement. But my wife, alarmed by the terrifying mouth of the animal, followed me. And just as she was about to deliver the fatal blow to the animal, she tried to stop my arm. I was so angry that I changed the trajectory of the blow and stabbed the axe against her, that she died instantly. The feline has run away. It is true that I didn't want to kill my wife, but the damage was done, so I had to think quickly how to get rid of the body. I thought of several options, but without a doubt, the best was to sandwich her. I looked for a suitable area of the wall and chose the one that faced the other side towards the fireplace. I dug a good hole and then covered the body of the deceased with lime. When finished, I collected the debris. Everything had been perfect. No one would ever suspect anything. For his part, the happy feline didn't appear. I thought that, scared by what was going to happen, he had run away from home never to return. But after 4 days, a couple of policemen showed up at my house. They were looking for my wife, and I already explained to them that I didn't know anything, that she just disappeared. That day was very quiet, maybe too quiet. I went down with them to the basement and they were watching, but they didn't find any hint of anything to make them suspicious until I made a big mistake, moved by the excess of tranquility. I don't know why, but just as they turned to leave, I made a terrible comment. Have you noticed how well built this house is? Its walls are very robust. And then I hit the wall with my can with such bad luck that I hit the exact spot where I hid my wife's body. And suddenly there was a terrible hole, chilling, disturbing, and the police began to break down the wall, alert until they found out. The wall finally fell, and the bloody and battered body of my wife appeared. But what was scary was not that, but that there, above her head, was the horrible black cat with his red jaws and the one eye of him spitting fire. Then I realized that he had been the one who plotted his own revenge to get me caught. Now You've already heard the story. I recommend discretion and sweet nightmares. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel because it